Hello everyone. Today I come to you bearing some grave news that I have recently realized. Well, the first thing is I'm back, so I guess that news is not so bad. But besides that, I've just come to realize that Blizzard is actually going to have Horde win the faction war, and that the Alliance faction will no longer be available for play and will no longer exist in the game. And I have many facts supporting this idea, and I would just like to tell you guys how I came to this conclusion. So first of all, if we look at the history of the game, Blizzard really never liked Alliance. They gave the Horde Shamans to begin with, and the Alliance Paladins, and where Shamans could buff their party with a very strong buff by just pressing one button, Paladins had to spend their entire time buffing their allies, and did not really have time to do anything else in a raiding environment. And I guess Blizzard expected that no one sane would actually go and roll Alliance because of this limitation of Paladins, and everyone would just play Shamans. And then Blizzard's job would be much easier with just destroying and removing the Alliance faction from the game. But this was not the case. Unfortunately, people were a lot dumber than Blizzard expected. And so Blizzard has had to play this game for a very long time of trying to steer players in the right direction that they wanted them to go. So on top of that, if you look at the Cataclysm cinematic, you can see Deathwing, once he comes out of the ground with his plates battered onto him, what he does is he flies over Darkshore, destroys Darkshore, then he flies over Loch Modan, destroys that, and he lands on Stormwind. How much more of an obvious hint do you need to see that Blizzard want to destroy the Alliance? On top of that, all the cool characters that we've seen in the lore are all Horde. Just think about it. There's Thrall, Grom, Sylvanas, Broxigar, and what do Alliance have? They have Rin. Wait, they've killed him. It's so obvious, and not to mention, Alliance got gnomes. I think it's been a joke from the start, between the gnomes and the paladins, and people just never realized it. Not to mention, Jaina was always portrayed as a friend to the Horde, so much so that she cast aside all of her ties to the Alliance to basically be a little bitch of the Horde. And nowadays, when she dislikes the Horde, she's portrayed as an outcast. She doesn't even get game time. We haven't even seen her in Legion because she no longer likes the Horde. So coming to my second point is the fact that Sylvanas' actions don't make sense. Well, this is obvious. I mean, Blizzard have run out of patience with the Alliance player base, and they have come to drastic measures to try and force people to understand that Blizzard doesn't want you to play Alliance. And they have chosen to sacrifice one of their key characters to achieve that goal because they're sick of playing around. It was a game at the start, but now they're clearly quite tired of this, and they just want people to stop playing Alliance. Now, do I even need to mention the fact that 85 out of 100 of the top raiding guilds in World of Warcraft are Horde guilds? You know what this means? This means that the smartest players in the game, who are the best players in the game, have clearly already figured this out, that Blizzard is going to remove Alliance sooner or later, and that they don't want to be faction changing. I mean, think about it. At first there was the excuse of, oh, Horde has better racials, but that's been removed now. And yet, we see more and more players going to Horde. Why? Because they understand this fact. They see it ahead of time, and they don't want to tell anybody because they don't want to have competition. They want their competitors who are staying Alliance because they don't realize these changes to have a disadvantage in the next tier of progression. Now, what people have been asking about for years is that why haven't we gotten any new battlegrounds? I mean, last time we got a new battleground was like, what, Mists of Pandaria? Well, obviously, that's because there isn't going to be any PvP anymore because Alliance is going to be defeated. There isn't going to be a need for battlegrounds. Now, just like with everything that Blizzard does, once they set their mind on something, and they can announce something, and it takes them years to actually put that into action. Now, we just haven't seen the announcement of this, but ever since then, they wouldn't want to design new battlegrounds because they didn't see the need for it, they were going to remove alliance. It's just taking them longer than expected. More evidence of this can be seen in recent developments as well, like the requirements for allied races. Why is it that the alliance allied races require so much more work than the horde ones? If you think about it, the Nightborn and the High Mountain Tauren, well, you probably got those reputations while you were leveling, or at the beginning of the expansion. Yet for the Void Elves and the Lightforged Draenei, you have to get all new reputations in this higher level zone that is just more difficult to get through. Now, if all of that was not enough to convince you, I'm just gonna say one more thing. Both Ian and Lore are Horde players. And you know what else? Chris Metzen, one of the most instrumental players to the World of Warcraft story, who has been with them through the thick and thin, who has been writing the story for us, he had to retire. And you know what his reasoning was? He wanted to spend more time with his family. Now, I know no one saw the hidden message in that, but clearly what he meant by his family was the Alliance. He was an Alliance player. He just wasn't getting enough time in World of Warcraft to spend playing his Alliance character. And when he found out back in 2016 that Blizzard was going to remove the Alliance, he just wanted to take as much time as possible to play his Alliance character. And that's what he meant by his family. Now, I hope this has been as eye-opening for you as it has for me. And honestly, with all of these things combined, it is just undeniable that Alliance is going to lose this faction war in Battle for Azeroth. And considering that the Horde are not that much stronger than the Alliance, clearly the Horde are going to make use of some questionable methods and probably going to employ the help of the Old Gods and perhaps the Blood Trolls as well. But anyway, we shall see. So please like this video and subscribe for more videos. Hopefully I'll be posting a lot more nowadays. So I'll catch you guys then. Bye.